But we'd promised our viewers also to just try and see this China debt trap diplomacy as well. We just have a cursory look at it right now because we can't really dwell deep on it. But I want just to pick up an editorial cartoon, and Mr. Biwott may just comment on it as well and just tell us what he can see on that particular. This is China imports to Africa, and you have there. Can you see Africa export to China? You can see the small lorry actually coming from the big plane as well. Yeah, this is a trade imbalance that we're really talking about briefly. But we looking broadly when we talk about this particular deficit that we do have, and China with their debt trap diplomacy. We see what is happening right now with Sri Lanka, with Habantota port as well. Zambia, even now we have policemen who are Chinese. Kenya, we are actually, we've picked our tickets. Are we joining the line?
I don't think that is true, Dibal. I just wanted to say that.
What is not true?
You see, okay, actually China is not, China, from where I see China is an opportunity to us. What we see is that they are giving us a lot of support in terms of infrastructure development. Mm-hmm. They're giving us support in terms of modernizing our ports. And this is an opportunity. And what is happening is that as Kenya, or as the continent, because the way to approach China, we cannot do it alone as Kenya. The way to approach China is, can we be able to, we focus on trade, and can we be able to, as a continent, improve on our exports to China? Mm-hmm. Because they are offering us an opportunity. In fact, in November 5th to 10th, China has invited all countries of the world, and I think all African countries are there, to what we call China International Import Exposition. Actually, their theme is, renewed strategy, shared growth. They have seen that they need to encourage, African countries to trade more with them and export more. So the question of debt, I don't see the current levels of debt in this country as a challenge. What we should worry more as Kenyans is to be able to produce more and sell to China. In fact, if you look at percentage of debt to GDP ratio, actually Japan is the leading in the world. Japan has a GDP to debt ratio of 248%. And what they did is, as they grew their economy, they focused more on exports. They grew, export of motor vehicles and other products. Mm-hmm. And as they do that, they increased, debts. So we should be worried more. How can we have more Kenyans to join the productive sector, produce more Africans, and sell actually to China? So for me, China is an opportunity. I don't see them as really a trapper.
Is not really a trapper? I don't because now the devil is in the details, and the details is not what we're not told as a country, right? When we have these negotiations, how prepared are we when we go to this negotiating table? Because we have these particular terms that even the country, we do not really know about the full details about the contracting or the contractual agreement that we have as a country with China as well. And we see these are the things that actually coming to the fore. People are actually sometimes shocked that yes, how come now our sovereignty also is being exposed, that they can actually take now our port, we can lease it for 99 years like what is happening in Sri Lanka as well. The devil's always in the details. These are things that are not really brought to the public. Even up to now, when we're talking about SGR, we do not know the fine details of this agreement as well. We've never. Unless you can tell us today, what are the details? Kenyans do not really know the details about SGR, the contractual agreements, this sort of, if they're offering their loan, it is their bank will actually give us this loan. It is actually their company will run actually this particular port or for that matter, the railway line as well.
I want to tell you that by the time you see, the highest leaders of the country appending their signatures, you should be confident that experts have looked into all the arrangements, all the agreements, and they have been satisfied that there is a win-win. There is a win for Kenya.
But case in point, we have Mr. Biwott is here, that they went to India, they did a feasibility studies, and they said, no, we cannot actually go full steam ahead with this particular project. Yes, though Sri Lanka debt was ballooning rapidly under Mr. Rajapaksa, who was then the president, we know they had all this evidence, but they still went full steam ahead and procured the loan. The feasibility was studied, and it was done, and it appeared to be negative. I know we cannot really have time to really discuss this, yeah? Because I'm a director, she's on my case, we should be, yes?
It can't be true.
It can't be true.
When you see the big people signing, then all the experts have looked at it.
It cannot be
the
true.
Evidence is nothing but further from the truth. There are many international agreements, there are many engagements we've entered into other countries and regretted later. I remember once having a conversation on WTO, and the then minister who was in charge of those negotiations, I think Mr. Kirugi Mutokinde, then now was a member of parliament, was saying, you know, when I went to sign this in 1995, I had no idea what I was signing. I was just told, go ahead and sign. It's now that I'm realizing the dangers of it. I think the reality about the modern economy is that we must be able to interrogate all the decisions that are made. And if you look at China, while China may be an opportunity, the evidence is that we are actually entering into a debt trap. We are signing a lot of things that eventually look cheap credit in the first instance, but they're giving us challenges in the and I think the best example is SGR. Yes, we were given resources, but if you look at the amounts of money we have to pay for SGR vis-a-vis the returns we are getting from it, it looked good from far. I think it's now looking far from good, and I think we need to interrogate much more. It is good that they give us credit, but we need to interrogate how much credit, for what kind of use, and is it sustainable for us as a country?
Thank you. Geoffrey.
I think in closing, I just want to also, I want to disagree with the data that we just append your signature based on maybe a hunch or something. No, I think these are very interrogated. Just before you borrow, you must go through an appraisal process of the project. No bank will lend you money if you cannot demonstrate ability to pay, or what you're going to put into the money is not feasible. So I think these are very interrogated projects, and they're actually out there to support the growth. I think China currently look like it's sort of having a heavy swing against the people they lend to. But I think if you look at Africa's demand for infrastructure, it's running to almost 170 billion. This cannot be funded through our own domestic resources. We need partners who can help us, and Chinese have stepped forward as a partner who can do that. I mean, look at the infrastructure we've had today. Forget about the SGR. Even just the roads, the bypasses, the connectivity and the ability that it has provided in terms of movements has been incredible. So we cannot or just dismiss and say the Chinese is a risk. I think they have provided credit. We have to have proper experts analyzing projects, and I believe they're there to ensure that we have the ability to pay. So I do not see that we are in a trap at the moment.
Thank you. Abdullah, closing remarks?
Yeah, the only comment I was going to add on that is the fact that I think when the Chinese come with their promises, like for example the last forum for the cooperation, China-Africa, the summit, I think the message that came from there was that China was committing almost $60 billion, and specifically channeling into Africa. Now, most of it is going towards infrastructure, and I think what we need to understand is the fact that China is not just providing some, they have got vested interests. It must be serving their interests as well, either accessing resources from Africa or being able to, get their export into the market. Now, what we need to do is to also be smart, in the sense that in that engagement, we are also benefiting out of it. And I've seen a number of countries, by the way, Malaysia, Sierra Leone, who have relooked at the agreements, commitments, and decided to cancel them, partly because of the fact that their interests are not as catered for as the Chinese have. So if you find that one contract is one way, there is no transfer of skills, there's no benefit to the economy, it doesn't benefit you, and so you can actually cancel the contract, as some of these countries have shown.
Yeah, thank you. Biwot, closing remarks, 30 seconds.
Just to say that our current debt to GDP ratio is still sustainable. We are at 58%. What the Chinese are doing is that they're helping us to build our infrastructure. Our biggest worry as Kenyans is to be able to see once the SGR is ready, it is coming with goods. When it is going back, do we have goods in the SGR? That's our biggest question as Kenyans. So we need to enhance productive capacity. There is the provision of local content. As this is happening, what Kenya receives is the technology we don't have. But Kenyans have been given an opportunity to supply up to 40% of what we can produce in the country. So
thank you.
I think this is the opportunity we see.
Thank you. All right, 30 seconds, closing remarks.
My closing remarks is I think there's a lot of work for us to do for us to be able to have an economy that is robust and sustainable. Yes, our current debt may still be sustainable at 58%, but it is tottering towards the side of unsustainability as opposed to moving towards more sustainability.
Right. Geoffrey?
I think the debate is healthy. The fact that Kenyans are more and more aware of what the government is doing. They need to, and government has to be more responsive in terms of giving information to the public because we are taxpayers.